Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on my video today. Hope everyone is doing well. This one's going to be a little bit of a wrap-up, recap slash tour of my finished RV. So just to recap a little bit, the end of fall last year, before it got too cold, I painted the ceiling. I didn't film any of that because it's really not that exciting. I just painted the ceiling the same color as the walls, which is actually gray. It comes across white on camera, but it's a very light gray. And along with that, I also painted the air conditioner unit because it was that really old yellowed plastic. That made a huge difference, just brightening up the entire space. I also painted all of the lights on the ceiling because they too were that yellowed plastic color, so those are all seamless in with the ceiling now. This year, once it started to finally get warm enough, I came out here and noticed that some trim that I installed on the overcab was falling down. So here's the deal with this trim. I tried using quarter round and different various trims. I even got some of the white plasticky stuff that's kind of flexible, and even that wasn't working for me. But just the curve of, the nose of the RV was a nightmare trying to get trim to look half decent in these corners. So what I did was bought this rubber flexible trim. It's the same kind of concept as the trim that I used around the floor of the RV. However, this one is much wider and it's flat. So it's typically used in, I would say, like commercial spaces or like bathrooms specifically. And yeah, it's just, it's just a rubber strip that has adhesive on the back of it, and it has a seam down the middle so you can fold it and put it in. Now, my idea with this trim was to paint it to make it blend in with the wood. So I spent a lot of time mixing different colors of browns and yellows and blacks and whites, trying to get it to match the wood in the overcab, and I think I did pretty well. It also kind of has like a wood grain look to it as well. So once it was painted, then I also put a clear coat over it. However, it did not last as good as I wanted it to. Like I said, this summer I came out and it was falling down, only on the ceiling part. So where it's vertical on the walls, it was fine, but it was falling off the ceiling. So I just threw some staples in it. I was going to use liquid nails and glue it up, but after pushing it back into place, it did continue sticking. So I just threw a couple staples in it, and they're barely noticeable. Barely. I know they're there, but still, it looks much better than the gap that would be there. One of the other things I had to do this summer yet was finish trimming out the fan. The one in the overcap was broken really bad, and to the point where it wouldn't even stay up. It was just hanging down. So I took that one completely off. I did try to find actual, what are they called, garnish for the vents, and I bought two different ones, two different companies that said, according to their measurements, 14 inches, that it would have fit. They did not. They did not fit the width, not the depth. The depth was fine, but the width didn't work. So all I did was got some inexpensive trim, painted it the same color as the ceiling and the walls, and tacked it up around the vents. So it does trim it out pretty good. It does not go up in the sides of the vent, but it's not that bad looking. It's totally fine in my opinion. And then the vent in the back, I just painted it to match the ceiling. Another issue that I was having with the vent in the overcab area was the screen itself was broken. The plastic part of it was broken, and that was kind of hanging down and wobbly. So my brilliant idea, which if I would have taken a little more time and effort would have really been perfect for this, but was to get little strips of wood and put it over where the screen screws into the rest of the fan unit. And that was where the crack was as well. So it was basically taking this crack and putting a rigid board across it, and then I was screwing through that. So I just got like some popsicle stick type craft wood things and painted them and put them up. I didn't drill them first, I was being lazy, and they did crack a little bit, but it still works. It still serves its purpose, and I'm perfectly okay with it. It turned out pretty good. So I just wanted to take a second to answer some of the questions that I get and to kind of recap previous projects that I've done. Firstly, and probably most frequently asked, is the floor. As you may know, I put peel and stick vinyl tiles on my floor. I was having some issues with them, so I also put the proper kind of floor adhesive under the peel and stick. So it's doubled up. And then even before that, I primed the floor with a floor primer that's made specifically for under peel and stick applications. So the floor is perfect. I haven't had any issues with it. None of the tiles have moved or lifted at all. A little disclaimer, I haven't lived in it. I haven't camped in it even. I have been in here, in and out, working, doing stuff, walking across the floor. It's been through an entire summer, an entire winter here in Pennsylvania, where it is kind of, you know, severe temperatures, either very hot or very cold. And so far so good. I'm extremely pleased with how it turned out. And also to kind of recap on the propane situation. I gave up on the propane. I tried to find the leak. I found one leak and fixed it, and then it was still continuing to leak, so I gave up. That was kind of the turning point for me, which I'll just get into that right now. Yes, so I bought this RV with the intentions of fixing it up cosmetically, because I wasn't made aware of the extent of the water damage and other issues that it had. I was lied to. I thought it was just going to be some cosmetic fixes, and it turned into be a lot more than that. A 3 summer fix up, and it's still not done. So that was my intentions. I wanted to fix it up. I wanted to use it to camp, travel, and to travel around selling the jewelry I make, the clothing, all that stuff. That was my plan. So for the majority of the time that I've had the RV, that has been my plan. I slowly started to realize that there was more issues than I was comfortable with. And not only that, I'm scared to death to drive it. I was going to live in it here on my property, leaving it parked, but use it as my house until my new house was finished. And then the propane thing happened, and I obviously can't live in here without propane, so that was kind of the tipping point for me, where I was like, you know what, I'm going to sell it. And I will not lie to the person I'm selling it to. I will tell them every single thing that I've done to it and every single thing that still needs work, including the propane. So, you know, I can't do that to somebody what I feel was done to me. It's just wrong. As soon as the title transfer notaries and stuff around here open back up, I will be putting it up for sale. I guess another question I get a lot is about the toilet, which I have not actually used. So the toilet is not getting sold with the RV. I have the old original toilet that's going to get put back in, and I'm saving the compost toilet for myself. So nobody has really even asked me about the cost, and I was actually keeping track of it in the beginning when it was easy to keep track of, but then my projects kind of exploded and I was buying a little something here, a little something there, and I just stopped keeping track. But to recap what I know, the RV was $2,200, $2,100, and I would estimate that I've spent about $2,000 in projects and fixing it up. Again, that's not an exact number, but I know I stopped keeping track at about $1,500, and I would say I probably spent an additional $500 since then. So yeah, I mean, not bad. $4,000. The only thing keeping me from using it would have been the propane issue, which could have been a $10 fix if I knew where the leak was. Or it could be a very expensive one too. You just never know. But yeah, so that was about the cost of the RV. So just in case you're new here, I would like to take a moment and recap everything that I've done, mostly like 99.5% by myself. First of all, the RV is a 1988 Ford Bravo. My first video I messed up and said it was a Chevy, but that's because my car was a Chevy at the time. And anyway, I think it's 24 foot, might be 25 foot. And when I got it home, I knew that there was water damage in the overcab, which is very common for Class C RVs. I knew that. It was very apparent, and I'm gonna try to throw up some pictures. The overcab was completely rotted, and that was where I kind of started. Here's where my dad comes in, because he helped me take out the overcab window, take the glass completely out of the frame, reseal around the glass back in the frame, and then sealing the frame back into the RV. So after doing that, I noticed that didn't stop the leaking. It was still raining in quite badly, and it was coming in the side seams up along the nose of the RV. So, you know, in this process, I tore everything out of the overcab, and where it was rotten wood, I replaced it with new wood. I replaced the insulation in the front. I took the trim off of the outside of the RV, which in doing so lost a little bit of the structure, so it was kind of hard putting it back together. But now that it is back together and it's got new wood, it's solid again. But in that process, it was a little sketchy. Taking around the outside of the RV, I resealed every single window. I didn't remove them, but I did scrape all of the old silicone off and put on new. And I used the ProFlex flexible RV sealant on everything. I painted the roof with a roof sealant, not just paint, but you know, a rubber coating, and resealed around everything up there. It is a metal roof, by the way. At one point, we had to move it for something, and we noticed that the transmission was just pouring fluid out of the bottom. So my dad redid the transmission lines. I also replaced the batteries, both batteries. So as far as the inside of the RV, I obviously rebuilt the overcab, and I wasn't quite sure how to enclose the walls up there. And I decided to go with like a faux shiplap, which I'm super happy with the way it turned out. If anything, I would maybe consider painting it the same color as the walls, but I kind of like that accent of wood, me personally. I tried to take shortcuts with painting, I'm not gonna lie, and it backfired on me. It ended up being twice as much work as it would have been if I would have just taken the doors off and sanded and primed and did all of that from the start, which I didn't. However, I learned and finished it the correct way. I didn't paint the inside of the cabinets. I didn't think that was super necessary. And last but not least, I built my own composting toilet. And like I said earlier, that toilet is not going to be sold with the RV, because even though I'm selling this RV, I'm not giving up on the idea of being able to travel. I'm just giving up on this particular RV. So my plan, and it's gonna be a while, not gonna lie, it's gonna be probably years, But once my house is done, I'm going to need a project because I don't know how to function without having projects. So I had this project, now I have the house. Once the house is done, I'm gonna need a new one. And for that, I will probably get a van, unless between now and then something else happens. A van is what I wanted originally, but I didn't go that route because I had 2 dogs, and I couldn't imagine being in a van with 2 dogs traveling. Not to mention those 2 dogs didn't get along all the time, so that would have just been a nightmare. But now I'm down to 1 dog, and in a few years when I'm ready to tackle a new project, I would really like to buy a van and convert it into a RV. So guys, I think that about sums it up. I've been talking for about 25 minutes, so I have a feeling I'm going to be editing a lot of this out. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching for the past 2 years of the projects, the blood, the sweat, the tears. There were many. I do really appreciate it. I don't regret any of it. I had so much fun. I learned so much and so much pride. Even though like a year down the road I'm not going to be able to like tangibly have this project anymore, I'll have the pride forever for taking this on with no knowledge whatsoever and finishing it for the most part. So if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave me a comment down below. So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my house videos, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video.